Hey everyone, John here. As far as I can tell, this is probably, well, I can't say 100%, but I believe this will be my final episode of this podcast. I really just created this as kind of a fun way to get people motivated to do this challenge. Obviously, you can reach out to me over my blog, 30daysofdisciplinejourney.com. Again, I believe I mentioned it, if you read it right in the podcast or if you go on my blog, you'll see that the 30 Days of Discipline was not created by me. It was created by someone by the name of Victor Pride, and he runs a blog called Bold and Determined. Of course, if you've gotten this far, you've listened to all the episodes, you found me on YouTube, on the blog, or you found me on iTunes most likely. That's where I'm getting most of the listeners. Hopefully, at this point you've kind of decided to tell yourself, maybe I'll start this challenge. If you do decide to do that, I do make a little bit of a commission if you go and buy the book through my website. I didn't create the blog or the podcast to make money. I kind of just did it to kind of help enforce me to get through the program. I knew if people were watching my progress, then I'd be a little more motivated to get through it. And from what I could find, there were a few people out there who did some pretty detailed reviews. If you go on Google and you type in 30 Days of Discipline Review, you will see that there are some really good reviews out there. I guess I want to apologize for my last episode. I actually recorded that a little early. I thought for some reason Tuesday was my last day, but it actually was Thursday, and I recorded this at like 9 o'clock at night when I was really tired, and I had actually been just sort of out of it. I ended up posting that and then trying to take it down and republish it a couple days later, but it did not seem to happen. It seemed to stay on iTunes. So I'm not really worried about it, but essentially I'm recording this on now. Today is day 29. I'm just going to put this up as like a final episode, though. In this same episode, I'm going to go over each of the habits. Instead of doing like single videos like I did earlier, I kind of talked about each habit one by one. I'm just going to kind of quickly go over where I saw improvements and what I plan to stick with and why, what I'm not going to stick with and why. Hopefully, this episode, I want to try to keep it under 20 minutes, but I don't know if I'll be able to do that. We'll see. So yeah, I guess just to dive right into it, pretty much in terms of the habits themselves, I'll just cover each one. I've got a list here. I'm just going to read them off through my blog. So the first habit was eating healthy 3 times each day. I'd say I probably stuck to that about 75% of the time. At first it was very difficult because I typically was used to actually going and eating snacks and stuff, as I talked about, but it wasn't that hard to get away from. All you really have to do is drink a lot of water, and if you're going to be waking up early, your schedule probably is going to shift. I mean, I went to bed at 8:30, so eating dinner at like 4 or 5 o'clock really shouldn't be that unheard of, and eating lunch at 11 or 11:30 really shouldn't be that unheard of because you probably are eating breakfast at like 7 a.m. So that's what I did. I did have some snacks here and there. I ate candy on Halloween. I even just went out food shopping the other day and actually bought, for the first time, some items that like I haven't had in over a month. Like I bought some like goldfish and Cheez-Its just because I like having some of those snacks. And I don't know. I think overall I'm probably going to go back to just regular snacking. Generally, I want to try to stick to more healthier foods. I just sort of had an indulge moment with this and decided I felt like having something more junk foodish, I guess. I'm not saying this is a bad habit, but I think it's definitely helpful, especially if you're going to be eating good. I'm not sure I totally attest to the idea of just only eating 3 times a day and not snacking. I'm sure there's lots of information out there that kind of covers this and talks about, eating small portions throughout the day, like having 6 meals a day. But I'm not even going to get into it. That's something that I've been so used to. I really don't see myself necessarily like moving away from the idea of like a 10 o'clock, like granola bar, or like a 3 o'clock, whatever, like having just a snack. It could be anything. So in terms of the next habit, waking up early, this is huge. It's definitely one of the biggest things. I was already doing it before I started this, and that's because of the traffic I dealt with. I'm sure if you listen to my first episodes, I expressed that. I hate dealing with traffic, so I woke up really early to avoid that. I actually could go into work at 10 o'clock if I wanted. I could go in at 9 or 8. It's completely optional at my work, and I've chosen to wake up early Luckily, my girlfriend got a new job, and we're on the same schedule now, so we actually go to bed at the same time. I will say that if you have a significant other or a girlfriend and they like to stay up till midnight, it's really going to kind of take a toll on you if you try to do this for a significant amount of time. It was actually really starting to hurt my relationship, and now that we're on a similar schedule, things are getting a lot better because we're spending more time with each other, and I get home and she's already home. It's not like 3 or 4 hours where I'm waiting for her to get home and then I go to bed shortly after. So that's kind of all I have to say about that. Well, beyond that, I did want to mention is waking up early has helped me with the other habits I'm going to be talking about, which are a lot to do with like goals and getting things done and being really productive. I think that's definitely made a huge impact in my productivity. So let's see. The third habit, taking cold showers every day. The things I can say that helped with, I can't 100% say this, but I believe that one of the symptoms I suffered with, and I'll be getting into it more on habit 4, is when it comes to like porn and masturbation, depending on who you are, I'm not sure, maybe your body, one of the symptoms you can get from basically not getting off, that's the best way I could put it, not having an orgasm. You'll if you're a guy, you'll end up with a symptom, or potentially end up with a symptom called blue balls, which basically is like aching. You'll end up just having aches, and if you haven't had it before, it sucks. I want to say that cold showers seem to help with that. I can't 100% say that, but I did read some information on Reddit, people talking about that in one of the like NoFap forums or whatever. So that's something I did want to mention. In terms of like skin and everything else, I can't really tell whether or not it helped my skin. I didn't have like any huge breakouts, but I really haven't had anything like that happen for years anyways. They did kind of suck, but I was definitely getting used to them. And by the end of like, day 25 or so, I'm like basically fine with it. And I was just very used to doing it. The other thing I definitely noticed with that is that it helped wake me up in the morning and kind of get my day going. Next topic, habit number 4, which is like masturbation and porn. I basically went, I actually went a day shy of 30. I went 29 days without that, and that's the longest I've gone in probably 15 plus years. Whenever I would have started, I just always felt like it was normal, and that was just how it was. I know I talked about that a lot in that particular video and kind of my whole background with porn. I guess I will admit I did randomly just like look at porn sometimes, but I never actually went and masturbated to it. I just kind of looked at it and urged myself to stop. I even, about 5 days ago, I decided to have a couple drinks at a friend's house, and that's the only time I've drank in this whole thing. I made it about 25 days or so without drinking. I know I was going to do the 30, but I made it about 25, so I wasn't, I was at a friend's. And, like that particular night, I think the alcohol combined with just the fact that I hadn't done it in so long, it was making it extremely hard to kind of move away from that. So that's kind of something to keep in mind if you decide to do the challenge. Obviously, part of the challenge is, you're allowed to drink, but if you're going to be drinking and you haven't, done anything like this, it could get your mind kind of in that wrong place. So something to keep in mind. Overall, in terms of me sort of continuing with that, I actually felt like, to be honest, I don't really see a huge difference in like how productive I am. I don't really see a huge difference in, I guess, like my relationship with my girlfriend in terms of how it's affected it. We really haven't. It's not like I haven't noticed anything like increased like sex with her or anything like that, or anything that's like super over the top. I know there's all these people out there that talk about this. I guess one thing I could say is if you're single and you're doing this challenge, I do honestly think it will make a difference, because it definitely made me, I guess, definitely a lot more aggressive when it comes to, trying to get my girlfriend in bed and kind of approaching her on the topic and just being a lot more in tune with it. The biggest thing with that was the way I sort of started to behave was more of like an asshole versus actually like being romantic about it, because it was more just me being frustrated that I haven't been able to get myself off versus actually just like wanting to make love with her or whatever. It was more just me being a dick, and then that turns into her not actually wanting to do anything, so the whole thing sort of foils. I would say if you're single, though, it's almost like it kind of brings out a natural alpha male, I guess. I could see myself if I was going out to bars and I didn't know the women. I'm not going to be super blunt with them and just ask to sleep with them or something, but I probably would be aggressive to the point that I'd probably be a lot more eager to potentially try to get a partner or a girlfriend or whatever the case, depending on what your goals are. I mean, everyone's different when it comes to that stuff. But yeah, that's kind of my thing there. I think overall I'll probably just end up stopping, not stopping, but probably doing it a lot less than I was. And honestly, I wasn't really doing it that much. It was maybe 3 or 4 times a week. And now that I'm on a similar schedule with my girlfriend, I don't see porn or masturbation being a huge thing in my life. Especially after this challenge, I just think it's going to be maybe a couple times a week, if that. It's not going to be, I know there's some people out there who probably do this 3 times a day or something. They got so much time on their hands and whatever. Moving on. Habit number 5, doing daily body weight exercise. I pretty much stuck with this the first 2.5 weeks. I started to kind of fall off, and I would only do a little bit each day, and then eventually I actually started just falling out of it completely and was missing whole days where I wasn't doing it. Overall, I did notice an improvement. I haven't checked my weight as of today, but honestly, I don't think it's that much different. It's probably a few pounds, nothing drastic. I wouldn't have expected it to be because this isn't a lot of cardio. Beyond that, I did go from barely struggling to do 20 push-ups to being able to do about 50 to 60 without stopping, just cranking them right out. So there have been definitely improvements, and I expected that because I've seen it before in the past when working out. Great part of the workout, and I do like that it's kind of fast. Something I will mention is you could probably do it while you're watching TV, because if you just try to do the workouts, and try to get everything done, it's just really kind of boring. You could be spending, 30 minutes to 45 minutes trying to do everything if you're doing it in separate sets, depending on your skill level and kind of how far you are with fitness. You're basically going to find it's just going to be easier if you watch something while you do it. I've been watching The Walking Dead, and if we watch that after on Sundays or Mondays or something, then it's just easier to do it while watching TV or a movie or something. Habit 6, dressing your best. I pretty much for at least 3 weeks plus, even today, I did dress relatively well. I didn't dress suit and tie or go crazy. People would look at me strange if I did that at my job. I think this would make more of a difference if I was single. I'm not trying to impress anyone. I did have a job interview today, but so I dressed really nice, nice shoes and everything. But most of the other days I just wore collared shirts, kind of went more business casual. I wore nice shoes every single day. I think Sundays were the only days that I'd maybe wear a hoodie, and that was kind of the relaxed day. And I'd go out and just be more casual, wear sneakers. So I kind of used that as the same day to sort of be more casual. At nights, if I came home, even right now I'm in pajamas. I'm not going to wear nice clothes while I'm sitting at home. There's just, if I want to relax. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I would say, in terms of sticking with it, I do overall think I want to dress better from now on. I did get some compliments on a jacket I have and things like that, and people definitely took notice. But I'd say let it be kind of where you stand. If you're in a job where it's going to help you and give you a better perception. I used to wear band hoodies and stuff like that, and I could definitely tell. I had an employee once just approach me and be like, are you ever going to dress better? And it's kind of well, and it definitely puts a perception on you if you dress nice and maybe you're trying to get a raise in your job. So just think about that. Number 7, creating a to-do list and staying organized. I was already doing this, and I still do it every single day. I've been doing it every day. Sometimes I don't get everything done. Some days I barely get anything done. Other days I get a ton of stuff done. I guess I want to mention some of the things that I've gotten done this month in brief. I made this entire podcast. I got into New and Noteworthy on iTunes, by the way. Number 4, and New and Noteworthy under health or self-help, I think. I also created this blog that I'm doing this. I put all these videos on YouTube. I made an entire course on how to create an Amazon affiliate website, which is over 5 hours of content. I recently just spruced up my freelance profile over on a website called Elance, where I can get work done. Did that in the last couple of days. I built a business from scratch called Frozen Wave Media, where I'm going to actually sell search engine services and build websites for companies here in New England where I live. These are things that I all did within 30 days. And I actually just got a tweet back from Victor Pride himself, letting him know about the podcast downloads, and he responded saying excellent, and that he seemed a little surprised that I was able to do it so quickly, because literally in under 30 days I've done all these things. I wasn't playing video games, so I was able to just get stuff done. I made sure my house was clean all the time. I made sure laundry was done. Made sure as best I could my girlfriend was happy. Took her out to eat and went places with her. Hung out with my friends, without drinking or doing any of these other things. So yeah, to-do list, really important. I definitely going to stick with that one. Definitely going to continue to stay organized. That's just part of my personality. Number 8, keeping correct posture, maintaining eye contact. That's something I still struggle with a lot. I did get a couple massages, and my next plan with that is to go to a chiropractor and actually have them check me out, because sometimes I suffer back pain depending on, I think a lot of it has to do with the chairs I sit in and sometimes the way I drive and things like that. But that's something I also want to really look into and have to keep focusing on, but I will improve there, and that's something obviously I do want to continue to do. It's a pretty easy kind of habit thing. Number 9, no excuses, no bullshit. In terms of that, I don't really think I've had too many opportunities come up where I've ended up in these yes or no type arguments or making big excuses. I just got a ton of stuff done. I decided to be really productive and just have a crazy productive month. I mean, I've been really making headway. I mean, even today, like I said earlier, I did all these things. I also wanted to mention today, I went on a job interview and basically told the company I want to charge them $2,000 a month to basically help them with their search engine marketing. And I'm still going to do my full-time job, and I'm basically going to have some other folks help me out with a lot of the work, and I'll be able to take home a lot of the profit just because I'm knowledgeable and I know who to work with. And those are the kinds of things, like, if you're thinking about starting your own business, maybe you want to sell on Amazon, or you want to start your own website or start making money on the internet. I mean, there's so many opportunities out there, and you shouldn't let anything get in your way. That's just how it is. Number 10, keeping a notebook and pen with you at all times. Like I said at the beginning, I kept Evernote on me, and there were times where I would have things pop up in my head and I'd have to go into Evernote, or maybe just go leave a note. A lot of times I might be at work, so I could just go in my Evernote and make a note about it. And this happens all the time, and if I did not do that, I would definitely forget, and it would be hard to kind of move on. Number 11, creating a definitive goal. As I said in the beginning, my goal is to kind of go and create an e-commerce store, and I already did that and kind of get going with Amazon. I kind of decided about a week or so ago that it just wasn't working out for me. I'm not profiting as much as I'd like to. So I basically let my virtual assistant, someone who works for me, kind of continue with the site. She loves doing it, so I'm going to let her keep working on it, and I'm going to work on some other things. I'm just going to let the site run as is, and I've decided to start working on trying to get some clients for this Frozen Wave Media business that I started up. That's kind of my definitive goal now. I definitely think it is really important that if you do decide to start this challenge, you do go ahead and create that goal and really make sure it's something you can work out every day. If you're doing to-do lists, then you should have plenty of things to come up with to work on a business. Maybe you want to learn how to build your own website so you can start your own business. Work on those goals and just keep at it. That's basically what I did, and regardless, even though I kind of didn't go the direction I originally wanted to when I started this challenge, I came up with a whole new direction, and I'm already kind of looking at potential clients for this new business I'm looking at. It's going pretty well. And the final one, 12, taking some time to rest on Sundays. I actually had some Sundays where I just worked during the day, and then at night I would take my breaks, which is kind of the opposite of what it says to do. Like I said in that habit when I talked about it, pretty much what you should do is make sure you do take some time to rest. But I would say in some ways, don't let it like ruin the challenge for you. Don't be like, well, I don't really feel like taking a cold shower anymore, so I'm just going to skip that part of the challenge. Make sure that you do all these things and stick with it. I can say in my behalf, there were a few areas I failed in a little bit, like in terms of the eating and in terms of like, I kind of skipped out slightly early on my drinking and video games, but overall I was able to make well over 25 days on all of the things that I was doing. And the workouts I think were probably the toughest one of them all, just kind of stick with it. Sometimes I'd have days where I just got home so late and it wasn't like I wanted to be doing this right as I'm going to bed, when I knew it would take me, half hour plus. But yeah, rest is definitely important. Just don't go overboard. Obviously that's the reason why it's intended for Sundays, and the rest of the week you just stay productive. I guess the final word I wanted to say is if you haven't checked out this challenge, definitely go over to my website, 30daysofdisciplinejourney.com. You can check out Victor Pride at his website at boldanddetermined.com. And I really hope that if you do decide to do this challenge, there is a contact form. Please email me. Let me know if this is something you decide to do. And if you have questions or maybe you're struggling somewhere, I'll be glad to help. I don't know how available Victor is. I was able to tweet him and stuff, and he responded usually within a day. I'm sure you could email him too. And there are other people out there who are doing this challenge. Just look it up on Google. You'll find tons of people. It really, I think it has helped mostly improve my mindset, kind of put me in a better place, and I'm really glad that I did it. I may even do it again in the future. But for now, I'm glad you all tuned in to listen, and if I do decide to do more episodes, I will let you know. Maybe if you have some ideas, you can email me. If there's some things you want to see, maybe other challenges that you know of, maybe I could incorporate that into this podcast somehow. I might be willing to take a look at something like that. All right. Thank you all for listening, and glad you were able to tune in. I hope my podcast and my own story here has helped you and motivated you. Talk to you all later.